All right. It is Wednesday night, guys. We got a great one. Some of you guys have made it through a tempestuous work week. We just want to say to all you guys that are out there and ladies that are out there that are of the African American diaspora, we just want to wish you a happy Juneteenth. And for those of you that know that Juneteenth is the day that in Texas, one of the areas was one of the last areas to find out that they were free. But here's the problem. Even though it's Juneteenth and we're celebrating Juneteenth, there are many of us that are still on the plantation. Am I lying? Am I lying? For those of you who are still trying to escape the plantation, even though it is Juneteenth, we're going to talk about that. 5 reasons. One brother gives 5 reasons why he left the United States. And then another sister, we're going to look at her video in regards to why she left the United States for Mexico City. An older sister who realized that it is not too late. At the age of 52, she decided to relocate to Mexico City and has been living her best life and not stressing about her income. So we're going to talk about that since it's Juneteenth. And since many of us don't realize that we're still stuck on the plantation known as the United States of America. Shout out to you guys. We got a special guest today that we're going to have. My man Todd is going to be in the building from Infinite Growth. Guys, shout out to you. So we're going to have Todd here in the building. But I'm going to give shout outs to all you guys here first. Let's get started with the super chats. Shout out first of all to Todd. Salute, kind sir. As a special guest and always giving a donation. One of the things that I always try to do as respect to any panel that I go on, I'll always try to give a donation. If I'm a guest or whatever it may be, I know that I just show respect to the host by giving something from Love Crossing Borders. So shout out to Todd being here. He's going to be here in a few moments with us on this short panel that we're going to have, talking about these 5 reasons that this brother's going to give on his video for why he moved from United States to Dominican Republic. My man Timothy Bright is in the building. Shout out to you, Timothy. Timothy says this. Timothy says freedom of speech is banned by women in the Matrix. That could be one of the reasons. Tonight I'm just drinking some tea and a little lime and honey. That's all, just a little lime and honey. Just in case you guys are wondering, hey Dre, what's that you're drinking, partner? It's just a little lime, a little honey. That's all it is. Shout out to my man Victory Asher of the Asher family down here in Cali, Colombia, enjoying himself. Sent a $20 cash app for supporting the channel. Shout out to Victory in the building. We appreciate the support. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And to all you guys that are here, we appreciate you. My man Black Nubian is in the building. Canadian boys.
I told this guy where I was from. He said, "Oh, Canada."
Oh, Canada. Let's bring that beat back for them Canadian boys.
This guy where I was from. He said, "Oh, Canada."
And I don't know how this man, Texas himself, got up in here. I don't know how he managed to do it. Oh, you ain't think I was ready for you, Austin? I'm ready for you, baby. Texas boys coming down in candy toys. Man, I know about you Texas boys. Y'all everywhere. Shout out to Austin Holloman in the building. Great lot, boy. I don't know what you've been doing lately. I don't know what morning exercise or prayer routine or meditation you've been using this over the last couple of weeks, but I'm telling you, your live streams over the past couple of days have been, man, motivating for so many people. Great move, Austin. Great move to bring on so many articulate brothers that have already made certain moves and can give so much information, man. Shout out to you. Support Black Male Media. Donate before the show becomes donate the show because we already know. Shout out to you, Austin, man. Appreciate you being here. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let's get over to the guys that are here in the building that came straight through the door. Like my man Don, aka the Don JP. Good evening, Andre and Andrea. He said, good evening to everyone in the chat. Yes, chat lives matters. This goes out to you guys.
It feels so lovely to be here tonight.
So
what a beautiful,
lovely.
give yourselves a round of applause. You're so lovely. Everyone's so lovely. And while you're in the clapping mood, I'd like to give a big round of applause to my band, Sexual Chocolate.
Yes, give us a shout out to the band, Sexual Chocolate.
Sexual Chocolate. They play so fine, don't you agree?
Yes, they do. They play so fine, don't you agree? And my man, little Tommy in the building, he said, Andre, goddamn, you killing us with the dope conversations back to back. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's what I'm trying to do, man. We're trying to keep all of us motivated. One of the things that helped me out, and I kid you guys not, let me turn this music down just a tad bit, just a little bit. One of the things that kept me motivated on my journey was I had Tailor-Made Dreams videos on a regular basis to keep me motivated. Once I started watching YouTube, I didn't have anybody in my regular life. I got my homeboys, but they weren't travelers. My sister and brother, they weren't travelers. My coworkers, they did cruises. So the only people I had to really keep me motivated on my journey was YouTubers. Tailor-Made Dreams, Flyboy Way, Ace Live, I Am Marwa. These are the type of guys, Jabril, Passport Heavy. These are the type of guys that kept me motivated. And so that's what I try to do 5 days a week, keep all of us motivated as we continue on with our journeys. And this is what Andrea and I do. We focus on keeping everybody encouraged. Shout out to Miss Andrea Spence. She's always in the building representing with love in our heart. But let's go back. Let's scroll down once again. We got, who else we got in the building? We got Victory. Shout out to Victory once again. He said, good evening, everyone. Here in chat, he said, I am in Cali, Colombia. Shout out to you, brother. That must mean, brother, that's only one reason for that.
Can't you see I got a passport? I got a passport.
Like I say, like Austin said, when it gets that bad, all you got to do is remind yourself.
Can't you see I got a passport? I got a passport.
Some of you guys are scheming to get out the United States. And the only reason you can do that is because
Can't you see I got a passport? I got a passport.
yes, sir. That's why Victory can be here in Cali, Colombia. That man has a passport. He's doing it, taking advantage of it. Shout out to you guys for being here this evening. Make sure that you guys also, when it comes to joining the Patreon, you can join the Patreon. The link is at the top of the description, as well as make sure you guys join our sponsors. The sponsor for the show this evening, particular sponsor, is the Passport Bro app. So let's get started with that.
Hey, Globetrotters! Are you ready to elevate your travel game and make every trip unforgettable? Get ready to revolutionize your adventures with Passport Bros app, your ticket to turning passion into profit. With Passport Bros, your travel videos and posts aren't just memories, they're money makers. Share your awe-inspiring experiences with the world and watch your bank account grow with every click. But wait, there's more. Connect with a vibrant community of fellow explorers, where camaraderie knows no borders. Exchange insider tips, forge lasting friendships, and create memories that last a lifetime. And that's not all. Gain access to exclusive discounts on accommodations, from cozy boutique hotels to luxurious resorts, ensuring you can travel in style without breaking the bank. So why settle for ordinary when you can experience the extraordinary? Join the Passport Bros app today and unlock a world of adventure, connection, and endless possibilities. Download the app now and let the journey of a lifetime begin.
Download now on the App Store and Google Play.
All right. The Passport Bro app. The link is at the top of the description of the chat. So all you got to do is absolutely free to download and take advantage of it. There's a lot of us in there, man. Even those of us who are part of the Cologne club that's in that group. So shout out to them. Shout out to, we got our special guest waiting. So I'm going to give a couple more shout outs and we're going to get started with my man Todd. Love W is in the building. He said, what's up? What up, dope? Some Detroit boys talking like that, man.
You better back the fuck up out my face, goddammit. I'm from Detroit, Michigan. Don't play with me.
You know how them Detroit boys act. How Lil W said this. He said, "What up, though?" He said, "Shout out to the chat. Chat lives matters." Shout out to my man, also Black Empowerment. He's also here in the building. He said, "I made it. By the hair of my chinny chin chin, I've made it." Shout out to you, brother. Yes, sir. He said, like the stream. He said, share the stream. Subscribe to the channel. Thank you, guys. We got 53 people in the building. Click that like button. We like you. Make sure you like us, too, because you are. So it looks like we have it. Looks like, oh, there we go. Oprah will be coming next. Let's see.
Oprah coming next. Once I establish this as a place of truth.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, sir. Established as a place of truth. Yeah, it is 8:17 Central right now. Shout out to you guys. Buenas tardes. Buenas noches right now in the evening, mi amigos. And so Ransom is in the building representing, as well as Fernando. Happy Juneteenth. Yes, sir. Gentlemen, once again, and ladies that are out there, happy Juneteenth, celebrating that special day in which the slaves, the final slaves, from what has been recorded, found out about their freedom. And yet and still, many of you still live on Mr. Gilmore's plantation, even as we speak. Oh, if y'all think that y'all not living on the plantation, that something has changed, no. The only thing that's changed is maybe your location from the south to the north. But many of us still have the plantation mindset. That's how we treat the United States. Good, Mr. Gilmore, good wife, folk. He never do us wrong. Mr. McGuthy, I don't know what's going on with the Wi-Fi today. Let me see if I switch it over. I am going to give me a second, guys, because I don't want any issues. I'm going to switch the Wi-Fi over. So if I drop you out, Todd, just be patient with me. I'm about to switch the Wi-Fi over. See if that helps. See if that helps. Let's see what happens. Let me see if this is good, because it's looking bad right now. It's looking bad. Give me a second. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to make sure that I have everything up to par before we get, excuse me, gentlemen, before we get started. I got a couple more super chat. Shout out to my man Kirby in the building. Kirby Films 1. Kirby says this. He says, "What up, Andre, gentlemen? Let's travel safe." Absolutely correct, Kirby. That's one thing that we want to do. Make sure no matter what we do, no matter where we go, that we are wise enough to travel safe. Shout out to my man Timothy Bright. I got some new drops for you, Tim. I got some new drops. Yes, I was up all night creating the new outros. So we got some nice ones for you guys. Victory for victory. Yes, sir. In Cali, Colombia. That's a good one. I like that. I like that. Shout out to
Oprah coming in.
Oh, I hit the wrong one. There we go. Salute to Uriah in the building. My favorite Bible name. My man is always here. He says salute to Dre and everyone in the chat. Another good one coming tonight. Support Black Male Media. Shout out to you. Let me see how that's working right now. The Wi-Fi. Oh, that's looking bad. That's looking bad. Ugh. Okay, let me take a second to switch this router over. Like I said, I might freeze or drop off for a split second, but I'm just switching the router over, guys. Let me switch it over to this one. Get it switched over. Still looking good. All right, we still got my man Todd. We still got our videos. Give it a second to get a lot better, guys. It's trying. There we go. It's even looking a little better. Shout out to you, gentlemen, and being patient with us this evening as we go through the struggle stream. All right, let's get ready to pull up our guest, my man Todd. Now, one thing about Todd, he is a college professor and professional. Let me change this music. That's the intro music. Let's change this music, make it a little more down to earth, more laid back. There we go. And I'm going to turn it down a little bit. There we go. All right. Tonight's episode is dedicated to those who are looking to relocate. You're on the fence of relocating to another country or even visiting another country for the first time. You've never had a passport. You've never used a passport before, and you are interested in taking advantage of global travel, not just going on a cruise or just going to another state. We're here for you. Andrea and Andrea's Love Crossing Borders, as well as my man Todd from Infinite Growth Channel. Todd is a guy that's a brother that specializes in academics, especially in the area of economy or how a person should have their mindset when it comes to handling everyday life, not only in the States, but also beyond. It's not just about money, like Todd says, it's about mindset. So we're going to bring my man Todd on to the channel right now.
Andre, thank you, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great, Todd. How you doing today, man?
And I'm honored, brother. I really am honored. I always love having conversations with you, man. And
oh man, you my dude.
Shout out to you and your lovely wife.
You too. A blessing to you and your wife as well, man. Right now, Todd is currently located. Let the guys know where you are, Todd. Let them know.
I am in Bogota, Colombia, with my family.
All right, that's what I'm talking about. How long have you been living in Bogota, off and on?
Off and on since the pandemic, since 2000. My wife and I got married in 2019, in October 2019. And as you know, COVID hit in 2020. And so Colombia was one of the first countries that closed its borders. And so I was there in the US, separated from my wife until October of 2020. And
wow.
During that time period, I decided that, you know, my values are family, right? God, family, community. And it didn't make any sense for me to be away from my wife when I had the ability to move, right? She didn't have the ability to come to the US because, as you know, there are a lot of restrictions getting into the US, but it was a lot easier for me to get a visa and to move to Colombia. And so it was a struggle at first because, again, I wasn't very fluent in the language. I thought I was, but I actually was not. And so it was a struggle, but I think it was a lot easier for me to move and to bite the bullet, so to speak, than it would have been for my wife to move my stepson and herself to the U.S. So we rejoined October 5th, 2020, and I fell in love with the country. I mean, it's the Garden of Eden.
Man, did you know that you got married just a few months before Andrea and I? We got married December 13th, 2019.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Well, we're gonna have to do a joint celebration.
Yeah, we are, man. You guys aren't far away. We love coming to Bogota anyway.
Yo, come on, man. We'll go get some. I know that you like fish, so we'll get some good mahar. Yeah, and
yes,
some ahiak.
Let me ask you this: what is? I didn't know this. You know, I'm right now rocking the Cali Colombia soccer team jersey and cap. You know, America de Cali. What is the soccer team name for Bogota?
Millonarios.
Okay. Because I know the national teams, and I know a couple of other. You know, I know Bartamante. I mean, Cartagena's is junior. Wait a minute. Yeah, Cartagena's is junior.
Well, actually, they got two here. Santa Fe, which was in the championship with Bucaramanga. Yeah, and Bucaramanga won, and this was the first time they actually won it.
Right.
So,
Right. All right, guys. We're gonna. I was happy for them brothers finally winning, and they needed it. And so, guys, the reason why Todd and I can sit back and talk about the marriages that we have here, and we could talk about the sports that are here, because a lot of times we as Americans think that when you move to other countries, you're going to miss out on certain things. Like you think you're going to miss out on Amazon deliveries. Like most of the stuff, the equipment that I have here And most of the colognes that you guys see me with have been delivered by Amazon. So if you think that here in Colombia or in South America, we don't have Amazon, we do. We have the same type of stores that you have. You guys have Costco's and Sam's Club right around the corner. We've got PriceSmart, as well as PriceSmart is in DR.
Yep.
And so a lot of times, Todd, people think that we don't have those things, but we're going to get started in a second. And I want to hear your opinion. I'm going to do some of these other super chats, but then we're going to get started in a second where a brother moved to Dominican Republic and he gave 5 reasons why he decided to make that move before we go to the next video of the sister who decided to make a move. Mind you, guys, in the comment section, don't get caught up on where individuals are moving to as much as the why that they're giving. Don't ignore the 5 reasons why he's saying this is why I made this move. And a lot of us can relate to what this brother's about to say. But Timothy Bright also says this. He say, thank Dre for the outros. Yeah, I'm trying to redeem you, Timothy, from the other big girl outros. He said, but don't blame big gals on me. Yeah, you see, yes, sir, we do. Trey King, like big gals too. All right. Big girls, big girls. All right. And Antonio, shout out to Tone being in the building. Yes, sir. Mr. Cardenas says this. He says, I'm Mexican American, bro. He said, and I support the brothers. He said, let's all leave the plantations, black and brown. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Because a lot of us are starting to realize, okay, we've good. You know, I always got a story time, Todd.
Okay.
The first time I understood the value of the US dollar in another country was not when I saw it televised. I was in the Fed. Some of you guys already know I was in the Feds 10 years. And in the Fed, there is a corporation known as Unicor that's making billions upon billions of dollars. It's on the New York Stock Exchange. It's the Federal Prisons company, and they are on the New York Stock Exchange. And you get paid to make different items. You know, some of you guys don't realize much of the tilapia that you get in the United States, there are tilapia farms in prisons in the United States that actually do the farming and the packaging of the tilapia that you eat in the grocery stores. And so they pay us a certain amount of money, right? And I'm in jail with the Mexican brother, right? And I'm wondering, you know, they pay us maybe like $100 a month. Back then that wasn't nothing, and now that's not nothing. $100 a month. He's in jail with me for 6 years, Todd. He gets ready to leave. He said, well, Andre, I'm ready. And I'm thinking, like, you ready? You know, you've been in jail with me. What, you got a special job? He said, man, they're deporting me back. They're going to be deporting me back to Mexico. I'm ready. I said, what do you mean you're ready? Todd, the house that this man built with prison money in Mexico, he showed me photos of his house that he been sending all that prison money back to Mexico and purchased the land and built a beautiful, beautiful home from scratch with the money that he was making in 5 years in prison in the United States.
Yep.
That's the first time I ever knew about the value of the US dollar, or it actually saw it for myself, an average everyday person taking advantage of the US dollar. And I was like, yeah, when I get out of this prison, I got to get out of the next prison known as the United States. I had to get out of 2 prisons. One was a plantation and one was a prison. And I had to get out of both of them.
Absolutely. I mean, and what happens a lot of times is that when we're born into something and we don't have any kind of frame of reference, we really don't know. It's sort of like this. And I appreciate your stories, man. I always appreciate your stories because you're the Aesop fables of YouTube, my friend. And so it's sort of like a fish doesn't know that he's in water.
True.
Until he's removed from it. Right.
True.
And so, you know, unless we have a frame of reference where we actually travel abroad and experience currency arbitrage or experience other cultures or really try to find those things which truly align with our values, we really don't know that we're on a plantation, right? We really don't know that we're on a farm, or we really don't know where we are unless there's something else that we can relate it to. And I think that's, when you talk about, plantation, there's a lot of terms that have carried over for a long period of time. And when some people hear the word plantation, they can't really identify with it because it's one of those old terms, much like the term Negro, right? But yet we still have the United Negro College Fund, then there's colored people, we still have National Association of, colored.
NAACP.
NAACP. So these things are still here. But unless you change your frame of reference, unless you can't have a growth mindset if you don't know what a fixed mindset is. And so you got it through the life and the experience of a person that you knew. Yeah. And the important thing is that you realize it at the time that there was something different. And that's when you your third eye kind of opened up, if you will.
He opened my eyes up. I kid you not, true story, prison stories, guys. When he built his house in Mexico with prison money, to this day, as you guys can tell, I never forgot those photos. It was one of the most beautiful houses that I'd ever seen. First of all, I never saw somebody build a house from scratch in Mexico before. Secondly, I didn't even think about anything like that. And it wasn't like he was stressing or starving to get it done. Mm-hmm. He was sending a certain amount of money every month and literally built a house from scratch. And I'm like, what? The second story, prison story, true story. I'm thinking like all Americans with the Africa and in Nigeria, in which the government told me and the televised news told me, Todd, what Africa looked like, until I was incarcerated with Africans. And they showed me photos of what Nigeria really looks like, what Ghana was looking like, what other developed cities throughout Africa was looking like. My misconception of Africa was just like everybody else's. And they were like, what are you talking about? We got the first time I ever had fufu was actually in federal prison when the African brothers made it. And like, Drake, come over here. We're going to show you how to eat with your hands, boy. And so they showed me, they made fufu. I kid you not.
Amazing, isn't it?
So when I came out of incarceration, I had so many lessons from men around the world about the beauty of their countries and that they couldn't wait to get back to. And they're showing me family photos that kind of contradicted everything that the United States was telling me on television and news headlines and, Mutual of Omaha, Wild Kingdom I grew up on. Come on, all you old heads. You grew up on every Sunday, Mutual of Omaha, Wild Kingdom. So you think of all of Africa is gazelles, zebras, lions, and giraffes.
Yeah.
Man, when they showed me the photo of I never forget this, man. When the brothers first showed me the photo of Nigeria, dude, it was looking like I'm looking at like a Chicago or Detroit or a major city. It wasn't like it was like, it was like a major city, and it was just eye-opening to me to see these things taking place. From the Mexican brother building a house with prison money to the Nigerian brothers showing me what Nigeria really looks like, and not what the television in the United States was showing me during that time period. But let's get started with this brother's journey. Let's pull him up on screen. And it's a brother that's in DR. Let's see if I can get this at the stage. There we go. And he's in DR, living his best life. And he's going to tell you 5 reasons why tell us 5 reasons, Todd, why he relocated outside the United States. Remember, focused on his reasons, guys, not just focusing on why he chose DR. You might not choose Dominican Republic. You might choose someone else like Bogota or Cali. But at the end of the day, there's a reason that is reverberating in the Black community of why Black people, and as well as my brown brothers and sisters, are starting to make their money in the United States and starting to relocate out. So let's get ready to get started. Drink in hand.
So I get this question all the time. Why did you leave America? And when people find out that I'm currently living in Dominican Republic, I can see the confusions on their faces. I can see them saying like, hey, I know the country has beautiful beaches, nice resorts, but why would anybody want to move from a great country like the US over to the Dominican Republic? And my answer to that, not everyone thinks the United States is great. Now, do I see America as a bad country? No, not really, because there are some good things about it. But if you remove the best quality of America, which by far is the greatest country in the world to earn money, then it's just an average country compared to anywhere else. Now, this is just my opinion. You don't have to agree with it. People like to think, especially nowadays, that if you're for one thing, that you gotta be against another. Therefore, I must hate America. And that's simply not true. However, there are some things that I dislike totally about America, but hate is a strong word. Like most people born in the US, I thought the United States was the end all be all. And how could you not? From the day you're born, they sell it to you like that. But also you see the glitz and glamour that kind of reinforces the narrative that America is the end all be all. But back in 2009, I traveled here to the Dominican Republic on a business trip. And something about that visit, it just totally changed me. I didn't know what it was at the time, but that experience in itself kind of lingered with me over the years. I would travel at least 2 to 3 times a year for the next several years until I finally moved here permanently in 2021. The culture, the people, the way of life, it all kind of put me in mind of how America was back in the 80s when I actually grew up. So here are my 5 reasons why I decided to leave America, but keep in mind, they're in no particular order, so let's get to it. Number 1, the growing tension and division. The America I grew up in the 80s, that America no longer exists. I'm gonna be honest with you. When I'm there, or even when I'm watching the news here in Dominican Republic, I can hardly even recognize the country. America, in my opinion, has lost some of their greatest strengths, like their social norms, their traditions, their morals and values. And I say morals and values in quotes because not that it always had morals and values, but man, they're totally lost nowadays. Having lived outside of the country for 2 years, on the outside looking in, looking at America, it looks like a free-for-all. Everybody seems to be on the edge. I feel uncomfortable when I'm out in public when I'm there. Here in Dominican Republic, I don't feel uneasy out in public. You see people enjoying themselves, having a good time. Nobody seems to be on edge here. But in America, oh man, everybody's on the edge. Number 2, the high cost of living.
Let's not even go into number 2 yet. We're going to talk about number 1 that he just brought to us, Todd.
Okay.
I wrote down some notes, and I know you did. You know yes, how sir. We do. The first thing that he mentioned was America is a great country, but do realize a country is only great to the person that sees it as great. Some people see other countries as great. We have a great, Todd and I are living a really great life here in Colombia. We don't need Colombia to be economically with this gross national product or military wise to be equivalent to the United States to feel great being here. I want to say that again. The country that you might plan on living in, guys, doesn't have to have the same infrastructure, doesn't have to have the same military might, doesn't have to have the same strength of the currency that the United States has. But as long as you feel that it's great for you, that's all that matters. So all of us consider the United States great, but there are some other countries that will treat you great.
Yeah. So
do remember that. Number 2 that he said is that you don't have to hate one country to enjoy and appreciate another country. This is true. We as people of color, we know how to walk in true bubblegum at the same time. Number 3, he said, is the culture, the people, and the environment is what drew him to DR. That may be some of the reasons why some of you are drawn to Mexico, like the young lady we're going to look at next. Some of you are drawn to Thailand. Some of you are drawn back home to Africa because of the culture, the people, and the environment. Unlike what America tries to sell, that the only reason we're going for the ladies, y'all only go to Africa for the ladies, you only go to Thailand for the ladies, you only go to Spain because you can be with the ladies. And that's how America tries to deter a lot of you from seeing what's on the other side of the border. They try to make it seem like all of us are out here whoremongering, and that's not necessarily true. The next thing that he talked about, before I let you speak, Todd, he talks about the number one, the tension and the division in the United States. Men versus women. You got black kids. You know what I've been noticing on TikTok and YouTube lately? Black kids talk to their parents like white kids used to. I've been looking on TikTok. You've been seeing black kids sitting up there just cussing they butt off while their parents are standing right there, either filming or just letting it slide by. Yeah. I was like, that would have never happened during our time period.
No. Yeah,
and so the economic tension that's going on because of inflation, the tension because of, you know, we have a lot of things that we need to repair back home, and yet we're sending money to other countries. So that tension is taking place. You got the tension between the Democrats that are running the Senate, but you can't get anything passed because the Republicans are running the House. So nothing is getting passed as far as laws. That's another scenario that brings forth tension. And the last thing that he mentioned, Todd, before I let you speak, he mentioned, and I experienced this the few times that I've gone back to the United States, I don't feel comfortable walking down the street in public. I thought it was just me. I have never felt so paranoid in my own country. I don't know why. I don't know. Subconsciously, I feel like something is about to happen. I feel like Chicken Little, the sky is falling. I don't know what it is. I don't trust the police. Man, I used to at least halfway understand the police in the United States. But since I've been gone, I don't know what's going on in the States. So I don't know if I could trust them. Can I not trust them? So every time I'm sitting in a police car, I'm so used to not even being bothered by the police. I don't trust the behavior patterns of what's going on. So, and then people, you know, it's so many people in the States deleting each other with road rage. I don't want to be a person of a stray bullet flying through the air and I lose my life while I'm only visiting the United States. So I've got to admit, I entered the United States with a huge sense of paranoia compared to when I was raised there. This is the first time I've ever admitted this, guys. When I went back to the States, that's one of the reasons why I haven't been back in 4 years, because the few days that I was there, I was antsy. I was so antsy, not just to get back, but because it was just like something. I kept feeling like something ain't right. Let me let you go ahead and speak, Todd.
No, you're absolutely right, and I agree with everything that you said, and just want to add a few points. You know, I think first of all, when we talk about America, we're talking about North America because we're still Americans, even though we're in Colombia. Right, in South America or Central America, so we are still American. Even though a person may be a Mexican American, they're still an American, right? They're just from they're from North America, from the country of Mexico. In the United States, they try to minimize anyone who has a different thought about going abroad. They try to minimize them and say, oh, well, you're going someplace that is, it's not as developed. Your lifestyle is going to be different. And, the former president called other countries shithole countries. And you have people that agree with that. But, and these people are saying these things and they have not experienced it. And so the information that they're getting is very one-sided. And I would dare to say that, being brainwashed, right? Because the news is only going to talk about things that elevate themselves, and they're not going to be self-reflective and talk about their bad points, right? So it's like being in a relationship with someone that doesn't see their own faults, but they will always identify yours. And so I think that that's kind of what the media does, and I think that that's what the culture does when it talks about other countries. when we talk about the US dollar, well, at one point, the pound sterling was the reserve currency of the world. And then the US currency became the world currency. And that's about to change. And so, when people talk about the US dollar, note that if you make money in euro and you live anywhere in the world other than Europe, your euro is going to go a lot further than US dollar.
Say that again, Todd. A lot of people don't understand that.
Yeah, if you earn money in euro, right, the euro, and you look at the exchange rate between the dollar and the euro, the reason why a lot of people from the US don't go to Europe is because it's more expensive, because the euro has a higher value. If you earn euro at this particular point, you can go anywhere in the world, but the euro is not the reserve currency of the world. You can't buy, currently, you can't buy oil with euro. You have to convert it to US dollars. So Saudi Arabia, as you know, because of your Mostly Money channel, I know that you talk about that. Saudi Arabia has now, the contract with Saudi Arabia has ended, and Saudi Arabia to date has decided not to renew the contract, stating that they will sell oil in US currency only. And so by making that change, whatever they go to, whether they go to gold or whether they go to other currencies, the US dollar is going to depreciate, meaning that the cost of living, which is high in the US now, is going to be even higher.
True.
So, he's spot on. Talking about the growing tensions. I'm an 80s baby too. I was born in the 60s, graduated in the 80s. And so, that's when I came into my own, in the 80s, having graduated from high school in the early 80s. It's not the same country. It isn't. I believe, from my experience, that racial tensions are even higher, right?
True.
Anytime that you have a 80-something-year-old non-melanated man tell you that if you don't vote for him, that you ain't black, and gets away with it, something is not right. And if someone else on the other side says, well, hey, you might as well vote for me because what do you have to lose?
Basically.
That's indicative of a lack of respect from either side. And I mean, there are a lot of social reasons why that takes place. But I would agree, from a cultural perspective, from a values perspective, from a discipline perspective, we are not the same as we were. We've become a lot more lenient in things that we might not necessarily need to be lenient in. They continue to tell us lies. For example, the United States is a democracy. That's a lie. The United States has never been a democracy. The United States is a republic. And so a democracy means that every person gets a say. And when they did, the protests against Wall Street, right? When they tried to set up a democracy and they want to give 2,000 people a right to speak and to speak their mind, it didn't work. It failed miserably. And so we live in a democratic republic. We have democratic ideals, but we live in a republic. And so there's been a lot of dissension, right? Black versus white, rich versus poor. There's no sense of nationalism. And one of the things that I've noticed here in South America is a strong sense of nationalism. That's
true.
It's not the color of your skin, it's where you're from, right? And that's what I've noticed. And to your point about the police, and I'm going to say this one thing about the police. Two things about the police. One, I'm not afraid to talk to them. They don't approach me from an ideologist of they've got the power, so I need to just shut up and do what they say. That's not it. And the young ladies who are police officers, another level in terms of beauty. Wow. Another level. So,
speaking of beautiful police officers, let's let's do a quick intro of one of the new breaks that we got with the lady police officers, just to show forth what Todd was talking about in regards to the beauty of the Colombian police officers.
This ain't a Beamer, this a big biz. Chrome heart got me kissing on his best friend. Put in work, baby, you could be my best man. Sending cash to my account, he investing. Dark shades on when I'm off the Migos. He's tryna cuff me like a in a Rico. Moving through this like GTA with a cheat code. He claimed that he love me, but before not a freak. I just wanna dance all night. Can't nobody do it just like I. Boy, you got just what I like. Come on, baby, let's kiss, don't fight. What you wanna do? Tell me what you like. What you wanna do? Tell me what you like. What you wanna do? Tell me what you like. Just say the word, baby, I'ma get you right. What you wanna do? Tell me what you like. What you wanna do? Tell me what you like. What you wanna do? Tell me what you like. Ain't gotta say it, I know I'm the one you like. Ooh, damn, so the DJ turn the beat up. Got a white boy who be singing like a Beatle. Claim she getting bread, but I heard she doing keto. I don't do drugs, I'ma smoke a little weed up. I can't chase a man for no paper. I just think it's sweet, I'ma show him now or later. I be getting money on the wake up. He a broke boy, tell that bitch get his cake up. Only with dope boys, they the ones who spinning paper, get your weight up. Told him send an Addy and to stay up. Out here mad, told him assalamu alaikum. Who that 5'5", she don't even need no makeup. What you wanna do? Tell me what you like. What you wanna do? Tell me what you like. What you wanna do? Tell me what you like. Just say the word, baby, I'ma get you right. What you wanna do? Tell me what you like. What you wanna do? Tell me what you like. What you wanna do? Tell me what you like. Ain't gotta say it, I know I'm the one you like.
Shout out to the ladies of the police force here in Colombia. Todd is absolutely correct.
That wasn't planned. I didn't set that up, folks.
I didn't set it up either, but since you said it, I was like, you know what? Let me give these brothers some love. Before you go any further, Todd, let me get to these super chats, and then I'm going to come back to you.
Yes, sir.
Once again, we got Timothy. I bet you saying thank you right now, Timothy, for those outros. Yes, I got a couple more in the making in the arsenal for you guys. Shout out to my man Christopher in the building. Shout out to you being here, Christopher. Mr. Rogers says this. He said, a country is only great to the person that sees it as great. That's bars. Yes, that's it. A country is only great to those that see it as great. Todd and I, we are really enjoying our lives here. We love the United States, and the United States is doing some amazing, great things. But to us, the life that we're living in this new country is a great life. And so to us, it's just as great as the United States can be as well. Shout out to you. My man Will in the building. Will of Thrill on the countdown. He said greetings to Andrea, Mr. Allen, and chat. Yes, sir. Hey, Todd, do me a favor.
Yes,
Drop
sir.
the link to your channel in the description so we can continue to drop it throughout the night. I want you guys to subscribe to Todd's channel. Excellent channel when it comes to economics, when it comes to motivation and preparing yourself for relocating or vacationing in another country. Todd is living receipt just like I am. He's living proof that you can live this life and you ain't got to be a baller, but you ain't got to be busted either. He says, sorry, I'm late to the show. He say Vegas has a lot of energy. I know you're having a great time there, man. He said, get your passports, gents. And also my man, Tevin King has become a member. He's actually gifted a membership to one of the brothers. Shout out to you. And shout out to my man T93 for becoming a member, supporting the channel. Shout out to you, T93. Welcome to the family, brother. Welcome to the family. As well as my man Timothy. He said outros better be gray skirt or to holler at the cops. Yeah, hey, I got some for you. I got something for you, man. Like I said, I was up all last night. I didn't go to bed until oh man, it had to be, and Andrea would have been mad at me if she had woke up, but I didn't go to bed till like 9 o'clock in the morning. So I went ahead and got these outros done for you gentlemen. So yeah. And so when Todd made that moment, I was like, well, let me go ahead and drop one of these outros since Todd talking about the female police cops in Colombia. Yes, we have some gorgeous, gorgeous police officers. Somebody asked, can you approach the police officers and get their phone numbers and date them? Here in Colombia, yes. Yes, I got several friends that have dated Colombian police officers. It is not like in the States where everything is all brutal. And so, guys, make sure we got 100 people here. Make sure you guys subscribe to Todd's channel. You got anything else you want to add, Todd, for that point number one until we go to point number two?
Yeah, I do want to. When I go back to the U.S., my anxiety level is next level. I just, it's very difficult to describe when I land in Florida and getting ready to take that next plane to my hometown. The anxiety that I have is just next level. And then, trying to deal with, with anxiety through different methods and modes and methodology and stuff like that. It's just, it wasn't like that until I saw, another point of reference, until I knew that as a fish, I was in water, that I was in water when I was removed from it. That's when I realized that there's more to life. And, a lot of people think that God only exists in the United States.
That's true. That's true.
So, yeah, thank you for letting me share that, because that
was a good point.
This is the Garden of Eden, bro. South America is the Garden of Eden. I believe that.
It is nice. You know what I like about it here? You have, no matter if you're on a continent of Africa, Southeast Asia, or Europe, or here in South America, it's almost as if you were born again, because you are learning so much from scratch.
Yeah,
you're learning foods again, languages again. Now it's almost like you're learning to walk again, because you're so used to driving a car everywhere. Now you're living in countries where you can actually just go out and walk, and you wonder why these Colombian women or Brazilian women have thick legs, because these countries are set up for just walking everywhere. South America, Central America, parts of Europe, parts of Africa is just made for exercise, riding a bike, walking. It's just set up like that. Asian countries are set up like that as well. In North America and much of the West is set up that you have to have a car. So now you're learning to walk again. It's just this renewal of life. And then you start the part I like, Todd, shout out to Juneteenth celebration. I love the fact that now I get a chance to learn Black history of my South American brothers and sisters that have done great things throughout history, as well as all the North American brothers and sisters and the brothers and sisters in Africa that was never taught to us in school. Yeah. There's so many things that I'm learning about Black people that I never even knew about.
Absolutely. And like you said, the history of the history of South America, the history of Colombia, right? That, Simón Bolívar, yes, he helped free 5 countries from Spanish rule, but he actually did it with the help of Haiti.
The help of Haiti.
And so when you look at the diaspora, Christopher Columbus didn't set foot on North American shores, right? And so a lot of the slave trade that was actually brought from the shores of Africa ended up in the Caribbean and in South America, because you think that the Spanish and the Portuguese were major slave traders. but they only had, you know, a small foothold in North America when you talk about Florida, and also, you know, you go to Mexico, but the larger part of the U.S. and the central part, you know, we bought Louisiana and that whole area from France. France was heavily involved in the slave trade. It was the Portuguese and the Spaniards. And so when you look at most Black and brown people around the world, what do they speak? Spanish and Portuguese.
True. That's true. That's so true. That's a good point. And especially the point that you made that a lot of people don't know. Colombia would not have its freedom if it wasn't for Haiti. Haiti was only 11 years old with this freedom. There are so many statues of Haitian heroes and streets that are named after Haitians in Colombia. That's another thing that you learn about Colombia. Colombia and Venezuela, because remember at that time period, Colombia, Venezuela, Ecuador, and Panama were one. Gran Colombia. It was one country. And they fought for their freedom with the help and the leadership of Haiti. They were like, hey, if you guys can do it, could you show us how you guys did it?
Exactly.
And so let's continue on with the video. But yes, you're absolutely correct in regards to that. Number 2, he said, is cost of living.
High cost of living is making it almost impossible for people to just live a normal life, especially in major metropolitan cities like Miami, New York, LA, Chicago, Houston. It's just making it almost impossible. Before moving to the Dominican Republic, we lived in the Fort Lauderdale area, and our monthly expenses came out to be around $4,600. That included the rent, utilities, car insurance, health insurance, you name it, it all was included in that. When we moved here to Dominican Republic, we cut our expenses down by 50%. And at the same time, we upgraded our lifestyle because the accommodations here were cheaper than living in Florida. And to be honest, we could have cut our expenses down by 65%, but we choose to live where we live. We wanted the same type of accommodations similar to what we had back in Florida. Which leads me to point number 3, the continuous rat race. And the funny thing about this one, you don't really realize you're running a race until it's almost too late. You're just subconsciously reacting, living the same life over and over each day, chasing this superficial goal that doesn't have any real purpose, at least for the most of us. Yes, it's okay to have a big house and the nice cars, but at what expense? Your quality of life, which many of us have sacrificed and still sacrificing just to pretend we have money, only to create more and more debt. So tell me this, what's the point of working just to pay bills? Here in DR, we have a better quality of life. Being able to cut down on the expenses has allowed us to enjoy our lives a little bit more. We're able to save a little bit more. We're able to invest a little bit more than what we did when we were in Fort Lauderdale. Number 4.
Before he goes to number 4, let's go back to number 2 and number 3. So as Todd is writing down his notes, he said number 2 is cost of living. The average American is just struggling. And this is the off-camera life that I notice when I'm there. When I'm there, everybody's stressed out. Everybody's rude. Doesn't matter what age you are, from 8 to 88. Everybody is just stressed the heck out in the States. Now, we know most people are not going to leave. And once again, we both love the United States like most expats do. But we still see certain symptoms that we didn't notice when we were there. You know, when you live there and you're stressed out and everybody else around you is stressed out, you don't notice it. But when you are actually leave and you go back, you notice how freaking stressed out the girl that's in the drive-through at the local restaurant is stressed out, and everybody else is, because of economics. The other thing that he mentioned was basically not necessarily the keeping up with the Joneses, but just the rat race, being on that hamster wheel. Like you guys were saying earlier when you were talking about making somebody else rich, bringing somebody else's dream to pass, as long as you jump on somebody else's hamster wheel. I looked at it like this. If I got to do a hamster wheel, I'm going to be running my own hamster wheel. There's a quote that they have for us entrepreneurs. Shout out to you guys that are entrepreneurs, investors, so forth. They say an entrepreneur is a person that has no problem with working 80 hours a week just so we can keep from ever having to work 40 hours a week again.
Oof.
The entrepreneur is a person that's willing to work 80 hours a week just so we will never have to work 40 hours a week again. And for those who get it, those who know, they know. I would rather put in 80 hours a week on my behalf of my business and my opportunities than to sit back and spend an hour in traffic to do 45, 50 hours a week and then do another hour of traffic back home and try to pretend like I have a peace of mind for my family. Go ahead, Todd.
No, that's a bar, right? I mean, you're absolutely right. And shout out to you because, I don't know if people know this, but I look up to you. I consider you a mentor, right? Even though I'm a few years older than you, I look up to you as a mentor, and I get advice from you, and I watch and I follow and I listen and I learn. And you're absolutely right. When you're working 80 hours in your dream, it's not work. But when you're working 40 hours in another man's dream, is work, because you're giving up your life. We only have so much time in this existence. And so when people talk about when they talk about time management, that's a misnomer. You can't manage time. You can't control time because time moves on whether you like it or not. So the only thing that we can manage is our activities. And so if a person gives you $20 an hour, $40 an hour, $50 an hour, even $250 an hour, they're telling you that they want you to give them an hour of your time that you will never be able to get back, and then exchange it for pieces of paper. And they print pieces of paper every single day. And there's only one of you. And once your time is up, you're gone. But the pieces of paper continue. So you have to look at yourself as being more valuable than those pieces of paper that they want to exchange. They want to exchange pieces of paper for your life. And so you ask yourself, will you sell your life to me? Will you sell your soul to the devil? Right? Well, no, I wouldn't do it. Okay, well, here's $1 million. Now, will you sell your soul? Will you sell your time? And then you don't get that back. Now it doesn't no longer belong to you. It doesn't belong to your family. It belongs to that person that signs your check. I didn't mean to go.
Absolutely correct. No. I'm glad that you said that, because I'm actually pulling up that cost of living index that you pulled up, because I'm comparing two cities. Let me pull this up on the screen for us. I'm comparing two cities. Bogota, Colombia is the capital, a major city, and I'm comparing it to Miami, a major city.
Mm-hmm.
And so let's compare both cities' cost of living and let you guys see what Todd is saying, because it's not actually cost of living that's slowing you guys down and slow many of us down. It's the cost of the time that you're giving.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say this again. It's going to go over some people's heads. It's not about the cost of living that's getting us in trouble. It's the cost that we have to pay with our time in order to get the money for our cost of living. To whereas me and Todd can work, let's say here, we can work 3 hours, and then we can spend 3 hours with our kids and then go back to work for 3 hours and then speak, even though I don't have any children yet, but we could go back and forth. You guys got to work a straight 8, 10, 12-hour shifts. You get a little lunch break in between, and that's it. In other words, and Todd was saying, you can't get back that time that you're investing into somebody else's dream. I don't care how many, take it from me. I've had all the promotions. I've had all the raises. And I'm telling you, here's story time, Todd.
All right, I'm ready.
I've mentioned this to guys before, right? What got me to leave the college that I was working for, and I was making $87,000 a year, right? You know how they have every year the national celebrations to where everybody come to the convention center, and you give out the award for the best college recruiter and the award for the best staff, like the award that you won, the best instructors and the best professors and the best whoever did best in the financial aid department and so forth. Everybody's getting these awards and this celebration, and yes, the school is going to do greater next year. We're cheering everything on, right? And then there was a video, like a giant screen came up when there's a video of 3 older white dudes. Now, this is not a race thing, but it's a true story. 3 older white dudes, and these gentlemen just so happen to be the founders of that particular school that I was working for. And these guys said, well, you know, we were just sitting around on the golf course and we kind of came up with this idea. And when I sat back and I heard that these men came up with the idea of let's start a school. And these men came up with this idea while they were on the golf course. I was like, I'm out. I'm out. I said, I'm done. I'm done. If they can come up with ideas, I can come up with ideas. I don't need a golf course. I'm out. Y'all can keep y'all 87,000. I wasn't upset, but I was putting myself on a timer. In other words, I told myself, you know what? I'll be out of here within the next year or 2. Oh, I'll be out of here in the next year or 2.
Yep.
Because when I heard that, it made me realize what you guys were saying earlier. I was giving my life, energy, and time for the success of those 3 men who came up with this idea themselves on a golf course.
Yeah. That was their way of saying thanks while they hit the golf ball.
Yeah. Because when that camera went off with their little video that they made, they went right back to the golf course with all the proceeds and profits that they had made from the college that we had come up with. And I like what E-Man said. He said a lot of people don't know this. Even these HBCUs were started by white people. A lot of people don't know that. They actually think that HBCUs, all of them were founded and started by black people, not true people. Do your homework. He's absolutely correct on that one.
No, these.
Let me hit to these super chats, and then we're going to go hear what you have to say about what he was mentioning.
Yes, sir.
Regarding the regarding number 2, when he said, you know, the cost of living, and number 3, when he said the rat race. And then we're going to look at the cost of living index comparing Bogota, Colombia to Miami, Florida. Executive Health, shout out to you, brother, for being in the building.
Yes, sir. Brilliant. What's up, brother?
Shout out to you. He said, just randomly logged on and saw 2 of my favorite dudes. He said, grateful to know and learn from you both. And you're 100% correct about the hours working on your dream. Absolutely correct. Once I discovered it, man, listen, it's been days, Todd. My wife had to come in here and wake me up to get me from out of this chair because I'm so at peace and at ease working for myself and developing my own and putting those, you know, rolling up my sleeves because I'm from Detroit. That's what we're used to doing for those factories and foundries. I just took that mindset of overtime and I'm working overtime for myself now.
And I know that your wife appreciates that too. And
yeah.
for her to, I mean, for you to describe that you're in your office and you're falling asleep and that she's going to come in and attend to you. I mean, how much better support is that showing? You know what I mean? I mean, I appreciate you sharing that tender moment. You know, that's something special. And I'm sure she realizes that you're working hard. You're working hard in your dream for your family and not spending that much time and energy and falling asleep in your office working in some other man's dream that's not going to support your family.
Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. Because like you guys said, that person dictates when I work for somebody else, they dictate when I went on vacation, how much time I could spend with my family on a regular week, how I felt when I went home. You know, when you've had a supervisor that's younger than you, those type of things, and now you're frustrated and, you know, all those emotions that you go through when you're working for somebody else. Now, we're not saying go out and quit your job and everybody should become an entrepreneur. We're not saying that. What we're saying is if for those of you that are interested in entrepreneurship, you might want to consider it, you know, as part-time while you get, you know, and get the business off the ground. You know, Jeff Bezos wasn't sitting around on unemployment checks trying to build Amazon. He probably had a job. Steve Jobs the same way. Steve had a job prior to.
Yeah.
And as their businesses grew, so be it. So be it. But let's continue on with the index real quick. Let me hear what you have to say about 1 and 2.
Okay.
I mean 2 and 3.
We talk about the cost of living, and I'm going to try to put it in some context here. And if you get lost in the weeds, just go ahead and make a comment, and I'll try to explain it a little bit better. But I had a conversation on someone else's show the other day. We were talking about the median index, or the median cost of living, versus the mean. The mean is the arithmetic average. Okay, so that is, you take everybody's salary and you divide it by the number of people that live in the United States, and you get the average income. The median income is, you take a list of everybody's income and you look for the number right in the middle. So it'd be half of the people that live in the United States will have it above, half of it below. So there was a misconception, because they tried to say, well, the median income is $56,000 a year in the US. That's a lie. That's the mean. That's the arithmetic average. Okay. So if I'm looking at the median income, and that's the middle income, that's the exact middle income in the United States. In 2000, the median income was $31,856. In 2024, the median income is $39,570. So the percentage change over the last 24 years is 24.21%. Okay? People say, 20%. However, I'm talking about over the last 24 years. So if I factor in inflation, which is 3%, that means that every year for the past 24 years, people were losing 1.99% of their purchasing power. If I extrapolate that out over 24 years, in the past 24 years, wages have declined by 39%. Purchasing power has declined by 39% over the last 24 years. All right. This is my wife. Hold on a second. I got to answer.
Go ahead, Todd. Go ahead.
Hola, amor. ¿Cómo estás?
And so what we're going to do is we're going to get started, go to the next part of the video, and what he was with the, actually we could look at the index. This is the number index that link that Todd Infinite Growth dropped earlier. And I'm going to compare the prices. Let's take a look at it. I'm going to compare the prices of Bogota, Colombia, cost of living to Miami. It says Miami is 100, and now Bogota is considered the most expensive city in Colombia, and it still says that Bogota is 161% less, or Miami is 161% higher than Bogota when it comes to rent, or when it comes to cost of living, and that's without the rent. With the rent, Miami rent on average is 260.9% higher than Bogota, the most expensive city in Colombia. For all of us that lived in Florida. Let's scroll down. Let's look at just a few things. The average meal that will cost a person when they in Bogota and they just want to go out for a nice little breakfast will cost you $4.58 for a nice meal. Am I correct, Todd? Absolutely. A decent breakfast?
Yep.
That same breakfast, that's just a regular breakfast, will cost you $25 in Miami. If you want to take two people out for a nice little meal in Bogota, do a lunch date, it's only $28.94.
Yep.
That exact same meal that's in you guys' mind right now, that same meal is $100 to take two people out to lunch.
Yep.
Let's go down to the apartments. We're going to look at the apartments down here because this is the part that you guys want to see. A one-bedroom apartment in Bogota, Colombia, in the center, in the city centra, or in the center of the city, on average, correct me if I'm wrong, Todd, it could be more, it could be a little less, $440 a month, $41 a month, and 31 cents.
Yeah,
I know that in some instances it could be even less.
Yeah, and it depends upon your stratus as well. But yeah, that is in the city center. Yeah, you're right. Yep. One bedroom. The average apartment to rent a one bedroom city center in Miami, $2,700
$78.80. Let's say you got a family like you got, Todd, or you want to get a 3-bedroom because you got studios like me and Andrea have.
Right.
In Colombia, in Bogota, which is once again the most expensive city in Colombia.
Yep.
$723.04 for a 3-bedroom apartment in a really nice area. We're not talking about no hood, fellas.
Right.
You know I don't do hood.
Right.
So, and Todd don't do hood. We talking about some really nice community areas where you got families and so forth. That same apartment in Miami is $5,401.01.
In the apartment that we're talking about 3 floors, right?
Yep.
So there'll be a living room, dining room, kitchen, washing room on the bottom floor. The second floor will be 2 bedrooms, and the third floor will have another bedroom.
Absolutely.
You know, don't show this stuff anymore, man. Because
I love showing the index because those who are on the fence, you know, consider, and even for seniors, you know, a lot of seniors who think that they can't afford to live in the States and they're living in their car. Listen, all you need is a flight, a ticket, and you good. That's all you need. Let's get back to the video. If people only knew. There we go. Let's add them to the stage.
Violence from mass shootings.
Okay, he said number 4.
violence.
He said number 4 is senseless violence. That's number 4 on the list of why he left the United States, was because the violence level is senseless.
Violence to police brutality. This part of America, in my opinion, has got way out of control. And the thought of me raising my daughter in this environment, in that nonsense, I'm telling you, as a parent, I'm terrified. I mean, think about sending them off to school, in the back of your mind, having a thought that they may not even make it home. I mean, this wasn't even a thought when I was growing up back in the 80s, that when you sent your kids to school, the possibility of them not coming home was not even a thought. This has just gotten to be ridiculous. There was a saying that went wrong place at the wrong time. Nowadays, that doesn't even matter. You could be at the right place at the wrong time and your life could be over. And when I say right place at the wrong time, meaning the grocery store, a restaurant, a park, a lounge. These are normal places where normal people go, and then to have to think about when you're going to these places that you may not even make it home.
So
I mean,
bad.
Let that sink in. But living here in Dominican Republic, a thought like that never crosses my mind. And number 5, racism. Yep, good old racism. I know racism is everywhere. And to be honest with you, it's not going anywhere, at least not in my lifetime. As a person of color, I have to be completely naive to believe that racism doesn't exist outside of the United States. As a black man, I know that I'm subject to that no matter where I live on this planet, that racism at some point will be an issue. The question is, how big of an issue would it be? I can tell you right now, in America, it's a big issue. I'm not saying racism doesn't exist in the Dominican Republic, because I just said it exists everywhere. But it's the level of racism in the United States that's the problem. In the United States, racism will get you killed. There's no evidence that racism here in Dominican Republic will get you killed. I just haven't seen any evidence of it. Another thing about racism in the United States that is systemic. Here in Dominican Republic, I don't see where racism is systemic, meaning there are no laws that they create to keep you from having anything, doing anything just because of the color of your skin. It's not systemic. You may have a person here that may be racist. You may have a group of people that may be racist, but there's not a concerted effort here to keep you from progressing just because of the color of your skin. If you got money here, you can do pretty much anything you want to do. I say when it comes to Dominican Republic, it's more about classism than it is about racism. Number 6, the feminization of men. As with the senseless, this one's gotten totally out of control in the.
Let's before he goes any further with the feminism of men, number 6, let's just talk about number 4 and 5, where he talks about violence in the United States that's out of hand, as well as racism. What do you have to say about that, Todd?
A good friend of ours, shout out to Kings and Dreams. He said he put a video in the group that we were in, and it was just a guy walking the street, shooting an automatic weapon or semi-automatic weapon.
Oh yeah. I saw that.
And just walking. And so which goes to, you know, there's a certain level of mental illness that goes on or what. But it's just as the guy said, it's just, you know, random acts of violence, senseless acts of violence. There was also I also saw just recently, and again, shout out to Executive Health, but this was a video of a gas station in the good old state of Tennessee, in Memphis, Tennessee, where there's a shootout at the gas station. And you, this is just not, I'm sure that some of these types of things happen here, but they're not as prevalent as in the U.S. And as you say, racism, I see more nationalism than anything. If a person's from Colombia, you know, darker skinned Colombians, I see a lot of interacting, and they're Colombians. But then if you see that some people are from another country, let's say that the Venezuelans interact with Venezuelans differently than they act with Colombians. And then you even have the indigenous groups of people that their activities is a little bit different as well. So I see more of that than I do racism, because the truth of the matter is that even those Colombians who are white, they have someone in their family tree that looks like you and I. True. Because that's just the nature.
I actually got into a disagreement, which I learned, you know, sometimes it's a learning experience, with a machista, you know, more white Colombian about black. And he was saying, like, listen, he said, bruh, he said, we all black in Colombia. I'm like, what? He's like, bruh. He said, do not let my skin complexion fool you into thinking. He knew English. He said, fool you into thinking that I don't have black heritage in my family bloodline all over the place, just like anybody else does. He said, I just so happen to be a descendant of the white side. He said, but it's just as many black people at my family reunion as it is white people. And there's a lot of Colombians that will tell you we have a huge amount of black influence and black people in our family. Like the first thing I noticed when I got to Andrea's family's house, they had a lot of paintings and artwork that were like Egyptian paintings or artwork that were African art pieces. And I'm like, ain't nobody in here black, but all of this stuff in both sides of the family, all this artwork says there's a black influence somewhere. Yep. And so you're absolutely correct. A lot of people don't realize that Colombians have a national appreciation first, then their ethnicity of being Afro, and then blackness or being black, the moniker of black race comes third. And Americans just cannot fathom the thought of somebody daring to not look at their race first. Yeah. It just boggles our mind when Dominicans say, I'm not Dominican. I'm no negro. I'm Dominican. And it just blows our American minds like, how can you say that you're not black? You're Dominican. Bruh, I was raised to think about my nationality first, not my race. I know I'm black, like with my skin, but if they ever take race away, they can't take away my nation. My nationality, my country will always exist. That's what Dominicans are saying. And us Americans will shout them down and laugh at them, not realizing that most black people in the world actually focuses on their nationality before their race, even in parts of Africa. Yeah,
good point. Good point.
Even in parts of Africa.
That's interesting. That would be a very interesting conversation to talk to a person. That and that's why I appreciate your channel. That's why I appreciate the lives that you have, because you're one of the few people and you've said this before, you can learn from anybody, and you got the receipts to prove it. And I really appreciate that. Yeah, I really do.
Oh yeah, I appreciate you, Todd, man. I really do, man. You and I bounce so many great ideas and information off of each other, man. You just don't know. When I get off a phone conversation with you, it opened up my eyes to a lot of things as well. And to see another man that's, us over 50 men enjoying lives with wives and family and communities and neighbors that we enjoy things like that.
Yeah,
it's real good, man. Let's go back to the video and hear what he has to say next. Now, the next one he said, number 6 is the demasculinization of men. How feminine men in the States, not all men, but many men in the States, are starting to become.
America. Men are no longer able to be men in America without being accused of being toxic. If they're not accusing you of being toxic, they're trying to throw a dress on you. If they're not trying to throw a dress on you, they're showing you images of two men in their emotion. Honestly, I have no clue what's going on. Every time I watch a show nowadays, you're seeing some sort of image that's pushing this narrative. I have certain beliefs of how I believe the family structure should be, and I'm sticking to it. Now, I know it's hard to get away from these images because they are everywhere. I'm sorry, you could disagree, that's fine. I don't have to agree with anybody's lifestyle. I'm only telling you how I feel. And number 7, I wanted to live in a majority black country. And I can hear people always saying, well, you know what? There are several countries in Africa where you could have went and lived. And you know what? You're right. And you should go live there if that's how you feel. At this moment in my life, it is what it is to me. And for me, I wanted to move to the Dominican Republic. Not that I have anything against Africa, because I don't. At some point, I would love to spend 3 months out of the year in Africa. But for right now, it's Dominican Republic for me. And the reason why I want to live in a majority black country is because growing up in America, you're always the minority. And they never let you forget it. On the news, they minority this, minority that. I mean, you're constantly being bombarded about you being a minority. And not only that, you're even looked at, and sometimes, a lot of the times, treated as the minority. When you go to these black countries, and this is not Dominican Republic, I mean, you could be anywhere in the Caribbean, you go in these, even Jamaica, Barbados, Bahamas, any of these countries, man, you go to these countries, you're not treated as if you are a black person. You're just treated like a normal person, exactly how I'm treated here in the Dominican Republic, like I'm a normal person. Nobody looks at the color of my skin. They say, oh, he's a black man. They just treat me like a normal person, like a human being. If anything, I'm treated better because I'm an American versus because I'm black. So the feeling to walk around here not feeling like a minority, I'm telling you, it's hard to even describe. It's like a weight just released from your shoulders. Trust me, give it a try. And I know people saying Dominican.
Before he goes any further, let's go and listen to what he has to say with number 6 and number 7, where he talks about the grading or the downward slope, or however you want to word it, of manhood, the demasculinization of men. Number 6 and number 7 is the peace that he receives by being in a country that is majority people of color. So let me hear what you have to say in regards to number 6 as well as number 7.
The cancel culture in the United States is real. And when they talk about freedom of speech, they talk about the freedom of speech for certain groups and not freedom of speech for others. And so when he's talking about this particular feminization of men, a person who has different values than those who are more feminized, if you will, as he said, they're considered toxic. But the acceptance is only one way. You have to accept their views, but they don't have to accept yours. or you have to accept their opinion, but they don't have to accept yours, and then you're ostracized. So, from that perspective, it is sort of like the hierarchy of victimhood, right? And let's say it's a pyramid in the hierarchy of victimhood, and there are certain groups that have been victimized, but as you go up the slope, right, it's no longer Black women. It now becomes certain types of men who consider themselves an alternate lifestyle. They've leapfrogged women in the hierarchy of victimhood. It's what people celebrate, right? I don't care who a person sleeps with or what a person sleeps with. What they do in the privacy of their bedroom is their business. But when it becomes a national issue, I become uncomfortable.
I mean, they're teaching in the schools now.
Yeah, and it becomes part of the curriculum, part of. I mean, when you have certain lifestyles are to me, certain lifestyles it's theirs, right? I don't have a heaven or hell to put somebody in, but I do have values that are uniquely mine, and I don't proselytize or push anyone to believe a certain thing that I do or my lifestyle. And I don't think that I should be spoon-fed or forced to accept something that I may not necessarily agree with. Now, I believe in, as I said before, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But you don't have to gore my cow or gore my ox in order for you to have what you want.
True. That is so true. So true. And number 7, he said he wants to live in a country that has a huge or larger Black population because he got tired of feeling like the minority.
Yeah, even in parts in Colombia. I mean, I'm here in Bogota. I go to a store or go to let's say a medical office, or I go to a chiropractor, and a lot of the pictures and a lot of the things, the images, they don't look like me. And I asked them. I said, "Well, do you have any Black clients?" They're like, "Oh, sure." I said, "Well, where are the Black photos?" Sort of like on Do the Right Thing. How come there's no Black people up on that wall?
Right. Absolutely.
Style where the Black people on the wall. But that's part of, people identify with people that they feel comfortable with. But I'm sure that in Cali, the demographic would be totally different.
Completely different.
Totally different.
True.
It's just that, when you look at the elitists, there aren't very many Black people in government here in Colombia. Even though we got
only 2 blacks, I think 2 Black senators.
Right. And of course, the vice president is a Black woman. Okay. And
True.
I mean, and shout out to her. But again, it's more of a nationalist type of thing. And it could be, part of an education thing and all that stuff. But in one of the cities here in, I want to say in Boyacá, but it's not Boyacá, that they actually have a mayor who's actually Russian, right? And so it's more inclusive here. And I think if it's not the idea in terms of majority Black, for me, it would be the idea of being inclusive. And I feel part of the community here. I have a youth soccer team. I'm walking down the street and they're calling me coach. Hey, coach. And it's somebody I've never seen before, but they're calling me coach. And now they're wanting to come up and talk to me. And they've just openly embraced me within the culture, within the community, even though my accent, they think I'm from Brazil because of my accent. But then they say, oh, okay, well, he's an extranjero or gringo or whatever. But right. I feel comfortable and appreciated. And that makes all the difference in the world for me. And I'm sure you've become part of the community in Cali. I mean, I'm sure that you walk in some places like Cheers.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of places like that, believe you me. That's true. That is true. Well, I know the owners' wives. So, yeah, or go to a spot and know all the security guards, like 5 clubs deep, and I know that one. That's my boy.
Yeah.
That's my boy over there. That's my homegirl over there. So yeah.
That gives you a sense of security too, doesn't it?
It does. It really does, man. Because people know that you're there, and they're out to protect you, and they know that you're good people, and that's the cool part about it. Let's go to Will the Thrill. Will says this. He said, I'm tired of carrying everywhere I go. Church, store, gas stations. He said, criminals know what they're doing, and they don't go to this is true. They don't go to gun shows or police stations with that craziness. Safer in the Middle East. Yes, it is. Yes, it doesn't take all that. I mean, I'm not saying that we shouldn't have our right to bear arms in the States. I'm just saying that the type of people that are using or taking advantage of that amendment for us to bear arms are some of the craziest people out there. I mean, even if your child, anytime you live in a country that you know that is almost guaranteed that somebody's children is going to be deleted that school year. That's just a given in the United States. You already know as soon as you put your kids on a bus, somebody's school, if not several schools in the United States, little kids going to be deleted. It's been like that for the last 10 years.
Wow.
We already know that every year in the United States, kid that made it past getting deleted in kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade, will be deleted when they get into somebody's college campus. Every year in the United States, there's always campus deletions. It's always been like that. So that it's almost guaranteed that somebody's little kid is going to be deleted throughout the year, and somebody's teenage son or daughter is going to be deleted in the United States throughout the year. That's just statistical facts. Last year we had over 600 plus mass deletions. A mass deletion is when you delete more than 4 people in one shooting. So we had it happen over 600 times, and we've been averaging that 500, 600 time window on average. I mean, it's just part of the fabric of the United States now that that you may not make it out of church, you might not make it out of Walmart. So when Will says, I got to be strapped because the way that this country is set up, I can't even go to Target without some white kid driving all the way up to Buffalo, one of the coldest cities, and deleting everybody in Target because he was told not to love black folk. It's those little things that you don't miss about the States. That area of stress and pressure that's put on you.
Yeah. Wow. That's dropping some knowledge here, man. That I didn't know that about the and that's scary. I mean, that's almost like, why wouldn't you just homeschool?
Yeah. Yep. Every year in the States. Every year. We haven't had a year without somebody deleting little kids or somebody in colleges. I can't remember. It's got to be 10, 15, 20 years. Every year, when the school year comes around, everybody's holding their breath and hope it's not their kids. Every year. Let's get ready to go to the next video. I know it's getting late, guys. We don't want to hold you too long. But let's look at the video with the sister in Mexico.
I make significantly less money than I did living in the U.S., but I work fewer hours.
Don't let that slide by. What she just said. I'm going to bring this beat back, guys. Don't let those first few lines go past. She's living in Mexico City. It's not a cheap city in Mexico, but she's going to make a quick point.
I make significantly less money than I did living in the U.S., but I work fewer hours. I am less stressed. And overall, my life is just filled with much more positivity and joy. I love my life. My name is Adelia Borishade. I am 48 years old. I quit my teaching job in the U.S., and now I live in Mexico City. Since moving abroad, the thing in my life that has changed the most is how I think about work and how I think about leisure. Particularly here in Mexico and Mexico City, things are just a lot more laid back than in the US. I am no longer in a rush to do anything. My days are filled with exploring the city, visiting museums, trying new cafes and restaurants, attending various events that the city puts on, going to dinner and jazz down the block. I take naps now. I didn't do that before.
Come on now, girl.
I worry about money less here, and it's not a factor of I have more of it, because I don't. But it is more of the way the system is set up. I've got more options here than I did in the US if things were to go south financially. I don't budget. My financial priorities are funded first, and then I don't worry about how the rest of the money is spent. But having income as an entrepreneur.
So let's take a look at how she spends her money. She spends, for housing and utilities, she only spends about $800 something. Is that
Yep, $813.
Yeah, okay, there we go. $813. For discretionaries, it's $984 a month. On food, she only spends $500 a month, and she already said $503. And she says that she goes to whatever restaurant she wants to go to, eateries, coffee shops. Unexpected expenses, she puts to the side about $459 to get her house cleaned every month. She has a cleaner that comes out and does it for $117 a month. And her transportation looks like it's like $103 to $105 a month in Mexico in 2023, in one of the largest and the most expensive city in Mexico, which is in the largest city in the world. Let's not forget that by way of size and population, and at least by way of population. And she only spends $17 a month. Many of you, that's far more than what your rent would be alone. And she only works. And I like what my brother said. Matt Billinary said, he said she only works 15 hours a week. Yep, 15 hours a week, brother.
Yeah,
you want to let this sink in.
That discretionary could be anything. I mean, that could be savings, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I was thinking when she was thinking about. She takes on average about $984 to put into savings or investment. Remember, she just said she puts money to the side just in case things go south. So she says, okay, I got this money. Let me not spend it all. Let me take a large chunk of it and put it to the side.
Yeah, shout out to her. Wow.
Yeah. So let's continue on.
Entrepreneur that goes up and down each month, that keeps things exciting, keeps me on my toes. I can at least afford to go to the doctor here or the dentist. Those things are within my reach where they weren't before, even with medical insurance.
It says Adelia pays around $750 a month for rent for her 2-bedroom apartment. So the apartment that we're looking at that she's in is only $750 a month in the most expensive city in Mexico. If she was in other cities, it wouldn't even cost her this amount. But she chose the capital city, and she's still getting a great deal. That's a nice size
when
apartment.
When it comes to food prices, I do not cook a lot. If I'm going out to eat,
of course you don't
let's
cook.
say I'm
You're a female
doing
from
an
the States.
A cocktail, that might be about $20 USD. If I'm just eating tacos, probably $4 for 3 or 4 tacos. How often do you eat tacos? I eat tacos very often. I'm not going to say daily, but multiple times a week.
I love tacos in Mexico. I ain't gonna even lie.
Yeah, that
She's
could be
from
fine
Houston.
dining. Tacos are different. Mexican tacos is different.
Completely different.
I probably worked about at least 60 hours a week. I was cratering under the weight of all of the expectations on me as a teacher. I just came to a point where I was like, I can't physically do this anymore. I knew that the life I was going to have after divorce was going to be one that
she's
I
already been traveling. I ain't mad at you,
the things I always
Delia.
wanted to do. The impetus for my move abroad was a realization that the life I wanted to live, I could not live in the United States. And it turns out I was right. I could have the life I wanted somewhere else. "20 years of teaching in the United States, I made just shy of $60,000. And I left the US to take a job that was going to pay me 60% less than that. I had my eyes wide open.
Wow.
I moved to Mexico City because I wanted to live someplace in Latin America where I could continue to improve my Spanish, and I wanted a city that was walkable and had mass transit and had a strong international airport. My favorite thing about living in Mexico City, this is a toss-up. It's neck and neck between the tacos and the overall vibe and the unexpectedness of things. You may see someone riding down the street on a unicycle in a genie costume, and that's just Tuesday. Like, I love that. I've become an entrepreneur, which was kind of a surprise. I have been working primarily doing financial education, financial coaching, along with some relocation coaching. And more recently, I have partnered up with someone and we host retreats around the world.
Let's see what a YouTube channel was.
And more recently, I have partnered.
Is that Picky Girl?
Let me write that down. I might want to get her on the show.
Yeah, Picky Girl Travels the World.
That's a cool name.
It is. I mean, a shout out to her, because I'm sure that she probably caught a lot of flack. A lot of people telling her not to do travel, not to do this, not to do that. And for her to say, hey, and to go from, Eastern Europe to Kuwait, shout out to her. I mean, her spirit, her mindset certainly is a growth mindset.
The one thing that I'm noticing as I listen to her story that's parallel to yours, that's parallel to mine and others, it doesn't take much money to go after the dream of relocating to another country. For the most part, you're not going to buy new furniture like I did. Many of you are not going to go into relationships like Todd and I did. Many of you are going to be just like her. You're just going to a new location and you're taking care of you. Some of you have already taken care of your mom and already taken care of your loved ones and your children. And so now it's all about you. So some of you guys are hesitant because you think that it's more expensive than what it is. And it's really not as expensive to initially take that leap. Am I correct, Todd?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. In 2018, I came to Colombia in 2018. The exchange rate at that time was 1,800 to 1, I believe.
Wow.
Now,
yeah, you're right.
Now it's 4,100 to 1. If y'all don't want to come to Colombia, that's okay. It's just stay in the U.S. Make sure that y'all keep that dollar tight.
Keep that dollar strong. Please.
It was scary. I mean, it's scary, right? Because I was fortunate enough to when I came to Colombia, I had already been in a relationship with my wife, right? We were dating at the time. I thought I knew Spanish, but when I got off the plane, I really didn't. But my wife, my mother-in-law, my sister-in-law, my nieces, my nephews, they all looked out after me, and I was immediately accepted into the family.
That's how it is with me. Yep.
Yeah. And that made all the difference in the world. It made it easier to cope. It made it easier to build resilience, right? Because every day it's a different planet. It's a different world, because they're not speaking English. They're speaking Spanish, and Spanish has nuances. They have different contexts. There are different accents. Every day it's like I'm lost. I might pick up 80% of the context, but then the 20% that I lose, I gotta go to Chat GPT or something like that. Oh, and by the way, I don't know if you know that. Chat GPT 4.0, or 4.0? You know anything about that? That you can actually speak into it and it will actually translate audibly to what you're saying.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, let me
got the paid membership.
Yeah, well, that'll help you do it. Let me demonstrate real quick for you. And this is for your followers and listeners as well, because one of the advantages of being from the U.S. is that you have access to technology and awareness that many other people in many other places of the world don't. And if you don't use it, it's kind of your own fault. Let me show you real quick, Andre. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you fine. What would you like to show me?
I would like for you to translate into Spanish what I'm about to say.
Sure, go ahead and say what you need translated, and I'll translate it into Spanish for you.
Out of the night which covers me, black as a pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul.
De la noche que me cubre, negra como un pozo de un extremo al otro. Agradezco a los dioses que puedan existir por mi alma inconquistable.
Chat 4.0. Are you there, Andre? Did you hear me?
Yeah, I heard exactly. Man, I'm just surprised that, how she just, was like, okay, I'm ready, whenever you're ready.
Yeah. And so that becomes a game changer. So I say this to say that if somebody has Chat 4.0 and they're traveling and they have access to Wi-Fi, right? If there's something that you don't understand, whatever country that you're in, you have technology that can translate for you.
I just want to give a shout out to, and I'm glad to confirm that and piggyback off that, International Quiet Storm just dropped the link of what of a Chat GPT 4.0 explaining what you just showed us.
Okay.
So they have a YouTube video that kind of like walks you through the process, and International Quiet Storm just dropped the link. So guys, make sure that you take advantage of that link. If you're a person like me that you already have Chat GPT 4.0, and there's things that you haven't taken advantage of yet. Yeah. So Austin has taught me a lot of things about it, and so now you've taught me something about it. I'm always learning something with Todd. See what I'm talking about? See what I'm talking about? We bounced. Chat GPT. Shout out to Will in the building, the sponsor for this evening.
It feels so lovely to be here tonight.
It's so lovely to be here with Will.
It's so lovely. Everyone's so lovely. And while you're in the clapping mood, I'd like to give a big round of applause to my band, Sexual Chocolate.
Yes, sir. A sponsor of the night. He said, Blacks and Hispanics.
They play so fine, don't you agree?
Blacks and Hispanics don't know the power they have. This is true. If we all left the plantation, Mr. Gilmore's property, the land of the Cartwrights, he said that the plantation of other countries, we will see America suffer significantly. Let that sink in. The sad part is it won't happen. It will not happen. IQS says this. He said, El Guapo recapped that video a couple of weeks ago, and I downloaded it immediately. So El Guapo talked about this as well. That is great, man. I'm going to be looking at this video. And once again, shout out to Will the Thrill, tonight's sponsor of the show. And thank you all for supporting the channel. Support Black Male Media. Todd, could you do me a favor? Once again, drop the link to your channel so individuals can subscribe to the channel, because I'm telling you guys, he is doing great work over there on this channel.
Will do. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes, sir. He say, Todd, Todd, are you an alpha Becu? I wouldn't know. Dr. Keithan of the Walker family asked.
An alpha, no.
Okay.
Alpha male, yes.
There we go. Shout out to Eric and others who are subscribed. We got 93 people in the building. Click the like button. We like you. Make sure you like us too. Let's get back to the sister story, because it's interesting to see her do. That's what I did. I kid you not, Todd. For all you guys out there, I actually gave up a job that was $87,000 a year, and I was probably making $27,000 when I first got here per year. But look, I look at Colombia and any of us, our journeys to other countries, not as a boomerang. I wasn't flying out to another country just so I can come on back to the United States. I realized I'm a slingshot. I'm not a boomerang. I'm a slingshot. And you're going to have to pull back. Yeah, I thought I would be making $300,000 a year by now, but pull back. Yeah, I'm coming to another country. I'm giving up on this, and I have to sell that and give away this and put that in storage. Pull back. Yeah, I'm gonna have to start this business from scratch. Pull back. And when you finally get to that point, you're in Colombia, or you're in DR, or you're in Thailand, and you've got yourself settled, and you've given away all of the spare clothes and all the spare shoes, and you're really living in that country. Now you let the boomerang go. I mean, you let the slingshot go, woof, and watch how fast your life shoots forward. But some of you guys think that you're going to live your life as a boomerang. Yeah, I'm going to go out here. You go out there to DR on vacation. You come to Brazil on vacation. You come to Iceland or Finland on vacation, Todd. And then what happens? They swing back around like a boomerang and run back to the United States and come right back to the States. Stop treating your life like a boomerang. There's nothing wrong. I mean this, guys. I discovered this a few years ago. There's nothing wrong with being like this sister, Todd, and myself. Slingshots. When you pull back, there's a lot of losses made, a lot of tension comes. But once you're in the right position, let go. And all of a sudden you start seeing your life just shooting forward past the money that you were making in the United States, past the peace that you had in the United States, past the friends that you had in the United States. All of a sudden you got family, not just friends. Everything that you thought that you would have and you would boomerang back to as a slingshot, you're going forward. You're not going back. Boomerangs come back. Slingshots don't. I'll say that one more time before we go to the video. Boomerangs come back. Slingshots don't. Yeah. So realize you're going to have to pull your life back. There's going to be some times where you got to pull back. You're going to, I ain't partying like I used to in the States. Pull back. You know what? I don't have a bunch of girlfriends like I used to in the States. Keep pulling back. Yeah. And all of a sudden, when you finally get to Colombia, like Todd and I, or whatever country, then let it go and watch how your life just shoots forward. You're living healthier. All of a sudden, you met one or two really nice ladies in these countries. All of a sudden, you're starting to learn new language like Todd was saying, like I'm trying to do. You know, all these doors open. You know, you get your cellular, you start getting credit cards, you start opening up bank accounts. All this came because you decided to be a slingshot and stop being a boomerang, going out to just pretend like you living in other countries and then boomerang back to the States. No.
How do you think you're gonna feel when you get that Colombian citizenship, when you get that Colombian passport?
You know, it's not gonna hit me until I vote.
Okay.
Even though I'm going to celebrate the passport and the citizenship, but Andrea was telling me when she went out to vote the last time, there were so many foreigners that were celebrating their first experience of voting in another country. Yeah. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Because they shut. I was amazed when I first saw this, right? When my wife went out to vote. It's literally a holiday. You know, shout out to Dr. Kenneth Augustus. He says, you quoted Invictus. That's why I asked, were you a member of Kappa Alpha Psi? No, sir, I was not. I joined the Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity incorporated. My father was a Kappa. My uncles were a Kappa. So, but shout out to Dr. Kenneth.
Now we see Dr. Kenneth came in and did a little sleuth work, and now he's like, okay, now I got it.
Yeah, I triggered him with Invictus.
I thought that, and I love a good quote. And he says, Dre, this is in the top #1 of your shows. Awesome. Thank you very much, brother. And thank you all for being here. I appreciate you guys being here. Will also says this. He says, treat America as a business. 'Tis true. He said, not as a place of residence. That's what I did. I just treated it like it was a place where it was for me to make money. I didn't treat it like any other thing, even though I love it as my home country. I treated it on a day-to-day basis as a corporation, not a country, a place where I make money. He said, let America fund you, but not enslave. Boy, that's a good one. That's a good one, but not enslave you. Let's go back to the video where Todd answers his
No, I'm not. I'm putting it. I thought I had it on silence. I apologize.
Oh, no problem. Yep. Mad Villainy says, Villainary says, he said, oh, I had said it right, Villainy. He said, America is a corporation. Hey, Todd, before we go into the next part of this video, explain earlier what you explained. Explain to us what you explained earlier on Austin Holloman, that America is technically by law or corporation.
Okay. I'm going to ask you to go. I'm going to send you a link in the back back channel here.
Okay.
And allow you to pull that up. Because, you know, one thing that you and I both like to do is that when we say something, we like to give receipts.
Bring the receipts.
And,
okay, let me pull it up and screen share.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Todd. Keep talking.
So if we look at the definitions, and this is the law school definitions, and the thing about language, especially the English language, is that we think that we have an understanding of what the meanings are. But if you go to Black's Law Dictionary, and there are several editions of Black's Law Dictionary, you get the understanding of what words mean. And there's also Ballantyne's Dictionary, Law Dictionary, where even if you're talking about the definition of human being, it means sea monster. And so when we look at the definition of the United States, so you have this, it's 28 U.S. Code 3002. Now scroll down to number 15, if you would, Andre. So let's look at definition of United States. United States means federal corporation, an agency, department, commission, board, or other entity of the United States, or an instrumentality of the United States. So again, United States means a federal corporation. The nationality in which we have is basically based upon our statehood. I'm an Ohioan. I was born in Ohio. You were born in Michigan, so you'd be a Michiganer.
Michiganer. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Someone in Alabama, an Alabamian. Someone in Texas, a Texan. And as you said earlier, shout out to Texas for Juneteenth, you know, free at last, right? The idea, though, is definitions and words mean things. So when we say that we are from the United States, that means that we're represented by a federal corporation. When you look at your birth certificate, there are two dates. There's your date of birth, and then there's the date of registration. So my date of birth may be, you know, October, September, or whatever, but then the date of registration is when my birth certificate was registered in that particular county of my birth. And so some people believe that that birth certificate places you in what they call a sesquiu trust. And so that when you look at and I don't want to get deep into it, but when you talk about corporations, it is the United States. The nationalities that we find ourselves in are the states in and of themselves, because each state has a constitution.
True.
And so that becomes part of it. That becomes very important. And so how we navigate through the laws, the Constitution, and all of these different things becomes very, very important. And this is also one of the things that kind of tether us to that corporation called the United States, which when you look at the location of the debtor, which is United States, the location of the United States is Washington, D.C.
Wow.
So yeah, he said SQ Trust and Mad Villainy is absolutely.
Yeah, I caught that.
Yeah,
I caught that.
Yep.
Shout out to Mad Villainy in the building, sharing that knowledge. Appreciate you, brother. Let's go on to the next part of her video, but I really want you to share that. So I'm happy that you got a chance to give us a little bit of insight in regards to that.
Appreciate that.
So let's go back to her video. Add to stage.
With someone, and we host retreats around the world. When I left the US and was living on less money, that made me reevaluate kind of everything. I looked at the money I'd set aside for retirement, and all of a sudden, FIRE, financial independence, retire early, became an option when it was not an option previously. Looking at my numbers,
let me move that out.
turns
Let me move me out of the way.
I had already achieved coast fire. Looking at my numbers, turns out that I had already achieved coast fire. So I have enough money saved.
Let's go back to her numbers. I want you guys to see her numbers.
Wow.
So she has, as a school teacher, as an investor, living in another country, even though she's been stacking because she hasn't had to waste that money on expensive apartments and expensive medical and expensive food in the States. She's been investing that money. She has over 545K saved as an individual retired account as of December 2023. I think she's doing it all right, guys. Shout out to her. Shout out to her.
So, allow me to do something really quick here. Let me go to the exchange rate. Let me look up the Mexican exchange rate really quickly, just so that your followers can get a
and just to encourage you guys out there and ladies out there that you can accomplish these exact same things. It doesn't. A lot of times we think that if we don't do it in the States, it can't be done, and we've been programmed to think that. We've been programmed to think that you can't make six figures as a U.S. citizen outside the States. That's not true. Take it from me, take it from that sister. She's proven that you can, now that you're not spending as much, you can invest a little more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The exchange rate in Mexico is 18-1 right now. $1 is 18.441 Mexican pesos. So at 545,000 US dollars, she has over 10 million Mexican pesos.
Wow. I'm not mad at her.
No, shout out to her. I mean, yeah, that would be a great interview. I think when you do get her on your show, that'd be great.
Oh yeah, I already got got to her on the turnpike. What I'm trying to do now is getting a lot more passport sisters on the channel for interviews, not just the guys. You know, it's great to have us guys, but we can't stop the momentum of Black women that are actually going to other countries as well. And we want to hear what they have to say by way of their experience and not just their dating experience. We know that for the most part, the dating experience of men is different than women in other countries. So I don't want to just talk about the dating experience of Black women in other countries. I want to talk about the relocation experience of Black women in other countries to encourage us all. Shout out to Theo in the building and Black Manosphere Conclave himself. Speaking of Black Manosphere Conclave, before we go back to the next video, we are at the point where it's on a countdown, guys. Countdown for the Black Manosphere Conclave. What do I mean? That over the next couple of weeks for the Manosphere Conclave, some of you guys have to realize that what the price for the tickets are going to go up in a couple of weeks. I'm going to pull up the Black Manosphere Conclave for you guys to see. We're going to be talking about this throughout the weeks. I want you guys to see this on the screen. Let me move. Shout out to Theo once again. Make sure that you guys become part of the Black Manosphere Conclave. Let me move this over here. Bada bing, bada boom. Get rid of this.
You're a guest speaker there, aren't you?
Yeah, I'll be speaking on that Sabado, on Saturday. The early bird tickets right now are $295. You can even do it with a payment plan, with your credit cards, whatever you need to do, guys. But at the end of the day, you definitely want to get your ticket, because starting on July 1st, that's going to change. Yesterday's prices will not be today's prices. And once again, you can become a member of the Black Manosphere Conclave as well, of the Black Manosphere. Here are the dates: September 6th and through the 8th. I will be speaking on the 8th on behalf of us travelers. You got Obsidian. You got Dennis Sperlin. Dennis will be speaking. You got my boy Shannon, as well as Jason. Of course, those brothers will be speaking, as well as others, and the brother Lee will be speaking. I'm telling you, it's going to be a really great time. We already have over 250 men that are going to be attending. That doesn't include the guys that's going to be attending the event via satellite. So some of you guys that can't make it, you can also still buy a ticket and watch it virtual. Watch the virtual event all 3 days. And so you get a chance to see on here. I'm going to drop the link for you guys, if it hasn't already been dropped. Let you see what Obsidian will be speaking about on the first day. And then we have the second day agenda itinerary. And then the third day, you got Theo, lunch break. And then you got your boy Andre Love, Crossing Borders. So we're going to be speaking in regards to that on the third day, on that Sabado, on Saturday. And then you guys already know, after the party, there's the after partying. So we're going to have some fun, guys, after that. So make sure that you guys get your tickets to the Black Manosphere Conclave ASAP. We're going to be talking about that on a regular basis, because we're going to see you guys there.
I attended that online last year. It was absolutely amazing. And took some of the courses with Theo. That's next level stuff, man. And for you to be on that says a lot about the value that you bring, man, because that is an amazing event.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited. I was going to go anyway. But then when I got the invitation to come and speak, I was like, so they're working on getting all that information under one umbrella right now. So we should be having that information regarding the hotel for you guys ASAP. So we'll be having that for you. Great question, Timothy. We'll be having the answer for that for you guys as well. No, you're not. Do not feed it to Theo. Let's go back to the video with the sister.
That's his sense of humor, man.
I know, man. We're doing tents. This is gonna be a tent revival, because we're all doing tents. So let's go back here.
Looking at my numbers, turns out that I had already achieved Coast Fire. So I have enough money saved and invested for retirement. The money that I make now, I can just live on. So saving isn't a top priority. Despite making less money, there are certain luxuries that I could afford because of the cost of living here. Somebody cleans my house once a week. That was not something I was able to do in the United States. Not having to worry about that allows me space to do the other things in my life and to be present for those things. I think when you have US dollars and you are making much more money than folks in the local economy, you've got to be particular about where you spend your money and how you spend your money, understanding what prices are like, and trying to be responsible in how you use your economic power. The sacrifices I've had to make living in Mexico City are primarily related to my children and my grandchildren. I can't always be there for birthday parties. My middle granddaughter, I couldn't be around when she was born. So there's that piece of it. I have always seen myself as an immigrant because my intention was to move here and build a life here. I can tell you that for me, my dream life is almost the antithesis of what we consider to be the dream life in America. I do not own a lot of stuff. I make a point not to. It's not about accumulating wealth. It's about having control over my time. That is my dream life.
All right. She said it's not about accumulating wealth like we were taught in the United States that most of us don't even get to before passing on. It's about being the one thing that we all can focus on is getting to the point where you are controlling the gift of time. I like how she put that.
Yeah, it was real well. She did that nice job of doing that.
I like how she put that. And my man DJ said she's still alone with the dog, but she ain't going broke doing it. She ain't going broke. That's one thing we can say, DJ. We might talk about her and being alone with the dog, but she got a barber that's keeping her DC fade tight because that fade was tight that she had with her hair.
Yeah, we only see her walking with the dog. We don't know what goes on after the camera goes away.
Right. We don't know. That's why I always say, Todd, when these cameras off, I always use that cameras got to go off. And you guys don't know everything about Todd and I and everything about our wives. There's a lot that we tell y'all and there's a lot that we don't tell you until you meet
Exactly.
us. So, yeah.
I'll just say this, and I use this a lot. And then I want you to respond to this. I say, I'm the head of my house. But my wife is the neck that turns the head.
That's it. Absolutely correct. Absolutely. I have no problem with that because there's a lot that gets taken care of that Andrea does that I know that without a doubt I couldn't accomplish any of what we're doing now without her leading the directions left and right of what we're going to be doing next here in Colombia in many areas.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
How do you find these clips, man? I mean, because last time you and I talked about doing reaction videos. But I mean, you bring up gems, man. You bring
usually all I do is just like quite often I'll go into YouTube and I'll just put in Passport Bros or why I'm leaving America, and like 50 videos will pop up. That gives you 50 videos to do a reaction to. Just put in YouTube why I'm leaving America or why I left America. That's 50 videos to react to. Let's go over to Instagram. Same thing.
Mm-hmm.
The same put in TikTok why I left my home country. And now you got people from around the world saying why they left their home countries and the benefits in which they find. So it's not just America, it's people leaving Canada, people that are leaving UK, people that are leaving Australia, New Zealand.
Yeah.
People that are saying it's just, these are really nice countries that we were raised in, and we appreciate the countries that we were raised in, but it is too expensive. If the country that you're raised in, that is too expensive, the country that you were born is too expensive to die in.
Yeah.
What's the, what's keeping you there? Did you know this, Todd? I found out this stat a couple years ago. Did you know that we spend more money on medical in the last 2 weeks of our lives than any other time combined? The last 2 weeks of your life, you'll spend more money, and your family will spend more money on medical on you in your last 2 weeks than the combination of all the times you went to the doctor's office or hospitals or surgery combined. That's how expensive it is to even die in the United States or in UK or in certain other parts of the world. Now, I can't say UK, but certain other parts of the world.
Yeah, and we haven't even talked about the cost of getting your remains prepared for burial or cremation.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct.
Yeah, and that's one thing I really appreciate about you, man, is that you don't just tell people to do the research; you show them where you can get the stuff. And like you got receipts, man. And a shout out to you for that. Yes, sir.
Yeah. shout out to you for being here as a guest. We're about to close down. We've been here for 2 hours, 21 minutes. I know it is a weekday. I'm going to see you guys tomorrow evening with another topic. But I definitely want to talk about this one this evening. I'm glad that you made it here, Todd. Once again, could you drop the link to your channel?
Yes, sir. We'll do that.
Because we want guys to actually go over to your channel and glean off of some of the information that you have to say as an economist when it comes to relocating to another country or even visiting a country for the first time. This channel is not just dedicated to those of you that are thinking about living in another country, but we also try to encourage you and help you with consultations as well as other information when it comes to your first or second or third visit to another country. There's a sister that hit me up. Shout out to Austin Holloman. There's a sister that watched you and I on Austin Holloman's yesterday.
Okay.
And she hit me up on Instagram. She said, Andre, I saw you on Austin with Todd and Fearless. Great show. She said, my dad and I already have scheduled to come down to Cali, Colombia, but we don't have a tour guide.
Oh,
and I know a good one. Right. And I know her sister, our girl Tours by D. She's been doing, born and raised in Houston. She's been doing tours forever. So I connect these two ladies together. So the young lady, well, she's in her 30s, and her father will be coming down to Cali, and D will be giving them a tour.
That's all. D is amazing, man. She's amazing.
Oh yeah. So it's those little things that the connections that we make with people such as D actually help us out when it comes to our enjoying our journey here. So it's not just about relocating, but it's also about sharing information for those that are just vacationing here in South America and you need help.
I mean, one of the things that when you travel abroad, you also elicit other things in your life, right? So we talk about well-being, we talk about your health, we talk about well-being, we talk about growth mindset. All those things combined can elevate and extend your life. I mean, it's the simple things, right? Being connected abroad really it allows you to have mental plasticity, and it can actually increase your awareness and growth and all of these different things. All these things are important. And most important to know is that there's always room at the top. And so there's more room at the top than there is at the bottom. So like as Andre can introduce your listeners or your followers to different people when they come to Cali, Colombia, to enhance their experience. And that just aids in their well-being. So shout out to you for being a resource to be able to do that.
Oh yeah, man. That's exactly what we try to do. We're going to take an end to the show, guys. Appreciate you guys being here. We're going to do a new outro that you guys are definitely going to enjoy. And so be ready to put your cowboy hats on. We're going to see you on tomorrow's episode of Love Crossing Borders. We got a whole nother show for you guys. Let's get this brand new ice break out here for you guys.